हेलो किड्स, इट हैपन्स एट टाइम्स कि हम कुछ बोलते हैं और लोगों के पास हमारी बात किसी और तरीके से पहुंचती है। शायद एक ऐसी गेम भी है ना, चाइनीज़ विस्पर। अब ये जो स्टोरी है ये कुछ उसी गेम की तरह है। सो द टाइटल इज वन लिटिल फेदर. It all began at the other end of the village in a large hen house. You might know that hens go up to roost around the time when the sun goes down. मतलब जब सूरज ढल रहा होता है तो वो सोने चली जाती हैं. As usual, on that particular evening, the hens got ready for the night and went to roost. There was a white hen among them who was always careful to lay her eggs on time and was generally very well mannered. It was, so to speak, a prim and proper hen. मतलब बहुत सलीके से रहने वाली थी वो. As she flew up to the perch, she lost a little white feather. Oh, said the white hen, I lost a feather. But it is all right. The fewer feathers I have, the prettier I will be. She said that jokingly, for even if she was very prim and proper and never talked nonsense, she still liked to say a little joke now and then. And without further thought for the lost feather, she buried her head under her wing and went to sleep. Meanwhile, the sun had gone down completely and it was dark and quiet in the coop. कूप जानते हैं? जहाँ पे मुर्गियाँ को रहते हैं या रखते हैं उसे कूप कहते हैं. The hens had nestled close to each other and were all deeply asleep. All? Well, all but one, for one hen was still wide awake. She could not sleep because she kept thinking of the white hen's last words. How was that again? Did she really want to get rid of all her feathers in order to look prettier? How could that be? The sleepless hen found it was a strange idea. Softly, she nudged her neighbor and whispered, Did you hear what the fat white hen said before going to sleep? She wants to pull out all her feathers to make herself more beautiful. If I were the cock, I would not want her in the hen house anymore. अब सोचिए, उस वाइट hen ने मजाक में बोला था कि चलो एक फेदर निकल गया, कोई बात नहीं, जितने कम शायद उतनी सुंदर लगूं. उसने ये तो हरगिज नहीं कहा था ना कि मैं अपने सारे फेदर्स निकालना चाहती हूँ. लेकिन इसने क्या सुना और सुनने के बाद आगे क्या कन्वे किया. Right above the hen house lived an owl family. देख रहे हैं ना, ये hen house और ये owls. And as everybody probably knows, owls have very sharp ears. They had heard everything that was said down below. Mother owl rolled her eyes and fluttered her wings. Children, she said, you should never listen to such nonsense. Your mother doesn't either. But you could not help hearing it. Wouldn't you die of shame? There is a hen below who has no manners. It is not a fit thing for a hen to do, to pluck all her feathers in the presence of a cock. Simply scandalous. White hen ने कुछ कहा, दूसरी hen ने कुछ और समझा, owl ने तो कुछ और ही समझ लिया. Mind the children, the father owl said. But Mother Owl found the story too much exciting to keep to herself. I must go and tell this to our neighbor, she said. She is such a wise owl. She will certainly have an opinion about this. She flew to an old oak tree in the farmyard where her neighbor had her nest. Ooh, ooh-hoo, hooted the two lady owls with indignation after Mother Owl had told her neighbor the story. Have you ever heard such a thing? They asked the doves in the dovecote, who strangely enough were still awake. Have you ever heard such a thing? How scandalous! The white hen in the coop has pulled out all her feathers because she thinks that the cock will find her more attractive that way. But she is so cold now that she is freezing to death. Ooh hoo. और सुनिए, सिर्फ एक वाइट फेदर खुद ही टूट के गिरा था, वो भी छोटा सा. और यहाँ क्या कहानी बन चुकी है जो डव्स तक पहुंची है कि वाइट हेन ने अपने सारे के सारे फेदर्स निकाल दिए हैं और अब ठंड में ठिठुर रही है. इमेजिन. इन व्हाट hen house did it happen? asked the doves. At the neighbor's farm, said Mother Owl. I practically saw it with my own eyes. It is not a nice thing to tell, but it is absolutely true. अब आउल ने देखा कहाँ था, उसने भी तो कुछ और ही सुना था. Anyways, इसी तरह से तो बातें फैलती हैं और बात का बतंगड़ बनती हैं. Of course, it's true. We believe you, said the doves and called to the rooster. You must listen to this. At the neighbor's farm, there is a hen. Actually, there are two hens who pulled out all their feathers. They did it to get noticed because they want the cock's attention. They believe that he will find them more attractive than the other hens that way. But it's a dangerous fashion to start plucking your feathers like that, for winter is coming soon and it will be stone cold. The two hens can very easily catch a cold, then get a fever or simply freeze to death. We heard that they were actually dead already. That's how it goes. Two fine hens and they died only because they decided to pull out all their feathers. एक मुर्गी से दो मुर्गियां मर गईं अब तो भाई, पर ऐसा हुआ था क्या? Anyways, the doves had embellished their story in their own way. Actually, जब भी हम कहीं की सुनी आगे बोलते हैं तो कुछ अपनी भी चीज़ें और उसमें ऐड कर देते हैं और इंटरेस्टिंग बताने के लिए. Anyways, awake, awake, crowed the rooster, very frightened by the dove's account. He flew onto the roof of the chicken coop and called again. Awake and listen. In a nearby hen house, there were 3 hens who died of love sickness for the cock. They pulled out all their feathers. I find this such a heartbreaking story that I feel it is my duty to tell it on. How can a cock be so heartless? Doesn't he know that he must divide his attention equally among all hens? What a shame. It was bound to happen sooner or later. Please tell it on. Cook-a-doodle-doo. Tell it on, piped the bats as they told the story to the nighthawk. The nighthawk flew on and spoke to all the animals who wanted to hear. एक बात कहाँ से कहाँ पहुँचते जा रही है. Pass it on. Tell all the hens of the village, cried the animals. They must all know about it. So, the tale went from hen house to hen house, through the whole village and even further. And it finally came back to the hen house where the white hen lived, the one who had lost a small feather. As you see, the tale had been retold over and over again, and everybody had embellished it a little by adding to it. Finally, the story was changed so much that the hens were not aware that it had all started with themselves. This is how all started with themselves. This is how the story came back to them. I have heard that 5 hens from the village all fell in love with the same cock. They all lost a lot of weight, and to prove who was the slimmest, they pulled out all their feathers. When the cock, who was to pick the winner, decided that they were all equally thin, they went mad. They started pecking each other till they were covered with blood. Not one hen survived. They are all dead. What a shame for the hens, and also what a shame for the owner. Imagine, जिस hen house से ये story start हुई थी, उस hen house तक वापस पहुँचते पहुँचते कहाँ की कहाँ पहुँच गई. The white hen, who had lost One little tiny feather did not realize that it had all happened because she had once said in jest, "The fewer feathers I have, the prettier I will be." And since the white hen was prim and proper and had good manners, she also said, "How scandalous! And those hens aren't the only ones who behave so badly. How can a hen act that way only because she is in love with the cock? What is more, pulling all your feathers won't get you anywhere. This story should not be hushed up. We have to pass it on so that all hens can hear it. Such a thing must never happen again." उस बेचारी को पता ही नहीं था, इनोसेंस में कहे हुए एक मजाकिया बात से ये कहानी कैसी बन गई. This is what the white hen said. The story was told on till all the animals in the country knew it. One little feather can grow to become 5 hens. Yes, it is absolutely true. I hope we all enjoyed the story. और आज के बाद इधर की बात उधर, वो भी मिर्च मसाला लगा के नहीं करेंगे.